What's going on, guys? Welcome to my channel, Darrick Sells Nashville. I'm a realtor here in the greater Nashville area. I live in Wilson County, which is the reason why I'm doing this video today. I also have run Airbnbs back when we lived in Seattle, Washington. And so when my wife and I first moved here, of course, that's one of the things that we looked into also was, what does the Airbnb stuff look like out here? And so we kind of went into looking at laws and all that fun stuff about Airbnbs in Mount Juliet, in Wilson County, Mount Juliet, Lebanon, Wilson County area in general. And there are some rules around it. And if you want to dive a little bit more into the rules, I did do a video on how to get away with running an Airbnb in Mount Juliet or Lebanon. And I'll link that right up here in one of these videos here, so you can go take a look at that. But today's video is specifically on what businesses can you start today in Wilson County around Airbnb. Now, I'm a realtor in this area and I've run Airbnbs, so I have a little bit of expertise in this, whether it comes to like property stuff or running an Airbnb. I've done both these things. So we'll start off with the number one thing, and probably the easiest. If you own a home, you could rent out a portion of that home. So if you have an extra bedroom, as we do here, although we don't rent it on Airbnb, we turned it into an office, you could rent this out on Airbnb and make income on it. Now, keeping in mind you're gonna have people in and out at different times of day and night and all that stuff. So you wanna keep that in mind when you're thinking about renting. So if you've got little kids, as we do, and this extra room is upstairs, we do have one downstairs that we use for our grandparents and stuff to stay in. It's nice to have like a separate entrance to a home that they can utilize without kind of disrupting your family flow. And just keeps everything safer in general. But if you don't have kids, you don't have a family, and you're just like, hey, I have this extra room, I love meeting people, that might be something that you wanna do. So take a look at that and think about doing something like that. Another thing that you can do is you can build a DADU, which stands for detached accessory dwelling unit. And I don't know if that's what they call it here, but that's what they call it back in Washington. But it explains what this is, right? This is a detached unit from your home. They can also be attached, I suppose, but you can build a detached unit from your home that somebody can rent out. So a cabin, a tiny house, a tree house, however creative you want to get. Now, the nice thing about it is that I believe the laws in Wilson County still are, if you're under 2 acres, that has to be your primary residence. So, but even if you have extra property, like let's say, so we are not on 2 acres here in Lebanon. Our home is on, I think, a quarter, not even that, probably like 10,000 square feet. Maybe a quarter acre. If we built something off the back of our house that was separate, like a little tiny house, that would be fine because this property is our own property. It's our personal property. We live here. So that would just be, that would, I think, be fine. Now, double check with a lawyer, make sure everything's all legal always, but I believe that would fall under the bed and breakfast laws in Wilson County. Double check, but I'm pretty sure you can. Now, if you're over 2 acres and you want to build that sort of stuff, that's great. But I don't even think that has to be your personal property at that point. But getting more into that next, number 3, if you're over 2 acres, you can just rent that house out. So if you have land around you, up to 2 acres, once you're over 2 acres, then that house can be just rented out as an Airbnb unit, right? And you can put multiple properties on there as long as obviously septic and all that stuff, is good. You can put different units on that property. I think of a lot of like Starstruck Farms and Twig City Farms out off of Coles Ferry Pike and off of 109. These are just big properties that have multiple units on them. Then I think it's great. So I think you can do something like that as well, especially if you're over 2 acres, you'll have the space for it. So that's an option for running an Airbnb on your property. Another thing that you could do, now I've heard people do this, I don't have any experience doing this, is finding a rental, whether it's a home or an apartment, making sure that whoever is renting it to you understands what your plan is here, right? Don't try to sneak this around anybody. Don't be that person. Say, we'd like to rent your house and we are basically going to sublease it on Airbnb as a short-term rental, okay? And some people are totally okay with that. You just have to make sure you find a landlord that is willing to allow you to do that. And if that's a thing, I believe that's okay, right? As long as it falls under all the other rules that you would need, right? It would need to be on 2 acres. So that wouldn't be your property. It would need to be on the 2 acres. So all that stuff still applies with that. Cool? All right. So we've done that things. Now, if you're like, Darrick, none of this applies to me. I don't own a house. I don't want to rent anything, or I can't find somebody to rent me anything. How can I make money on Airbnb even if I don't own a house? Well, I'm glad you stuck around because one of the things that I'm looking at doing, and I think that there's a huge market for it, is Airbnb management. So people who own Airbnbs that can have, that need help with updating their profile and getting their profile, handling customers, like calls and stuff coming in, managing the actual unit, like going and cleaning the unit after somebody checks out, like going to clean and change the sheets and wash everything and getting all that stuff done. You can make money by charging somebody to manage that property, right? You can be a short-term rental property manager. You can learn how to optimize their listing, right? These are all things that you can learn on either YouTube or take a course. And obviously customer service is going to be huge, like making sure people are happy with what's going on there. But you can find 3, 4, 5 probably properties in Wilson County that would like to be managed. You don't have to drive far. You can own your own business. Now you do have a schedule and you have to be very organized of when you're going over to clean these properties. But it's a great way to get really comfortable with the Airbnb process, make some money on the side, and then basically once you've made some money managing, maybe then think about buying your first property on 2 acres that you can rent out and then add that into the fold, right? And now you aren't only now you're managing it, but you're also really good at managing, but you're also making all the money on it, right? So it's a good way to kind of get into the business without ever having to own anything. So I think this is a great business to start if you can't buy stuff right now. Or you don't want to buy stuff, or you don't want to rent stuff, or you don't want to, you don't have the time for that sort of commitment. Start your own business managing Airbnbs. That's brilliant. Y'all, I hope you got something out of this video. If you did, and you want more Airbnb content, because I think I'm going to start making more Airbnb content, because I really like Airbnbs and short-term rentals, and as I kind of get into that market again, I'll be excited to make some more videos around that. So if you like that sort of stuff and you're looking to get more of it, make sure you like and comment and subscribe here on my channel. And I'm sorry this green light is so creepy. We're still working on some of the light stuff here, but I like the green. Green is my color, but it does look a little bit creepy right now. But all that being said, have a great rest of your day. Make sure you like and you subscribe to my channel, and have a great rest of your day. Also look for some of those other videos coming up right here and later.